Joining our men's basketball, head coach Mike Dunlap, Yaak Yaak, Harvey White. Coach, it's been a few weeks since we've seen you. You've been on the road. Last few weeks, you've gone 2-2. Give us a recap of those last 2 weeks on the road and what you saw from your team.
Well, the beautiful thing about Black Hills is there's lots of snow. And it's really cold, and the wind blows forever. And, it was great to go in there. They attend their games. It's important to them. So it was really good experience for our guys to have that. And how we got out of there alive is beyond me, And really, when you think about it, you go through that whole game. We're pushing back to see if we can get something done at the very end. And they foul tie. And you still got to make those 3 free throws. And then that puts us at about 8 seconds, their ball. And we had to get that stop. And so it was really fun and a confidence builder for us to go in there and get that W. And as they say, if you can split on the road and hold it home, you're okay. That's cliche at least. But it was like, they're so well coached. They have a tradition of winning. And for us to go in there and get out of there, we were elated, and then you make the haul over to Shadron, and coach has done a wonderful job of recruiting a lot of really good athletes. They're very athletic. And so totally different style of play. And it was a slugfest. And, I thought our guys did well. And if you said what might have happened, we were 0 for life from shooting the 3. And they were good shots. And so sometimes that happens. And so then again, on the road we go. When you go to Pueblo, another slugfest, well coached. They were up for us. They hit some absolute bombs and got on us. And again, between 6 minutes and when the game finished, I thought we showed a lot of poise. And the one thing about this team, I would love to take our free throw percentage inside of 4 minutes in the second half. There's a different focus, and we've been above 80% at making those free throws. But if you look at how that game fell, we were able to make our free throws, And then I just think that it was my job to get us up for Springs, and I did a poor job. And so, I just point the finger at myself because really it was about energy. But what was fantastic was that our Be Ready guys got an opportunity to play and played forever. And they closed right back in the second half. Here we go again. And there was one pivotal play that didn't go our way inside of 7 minutes, and we're a 10-point spread. And you could see that we had stolen the momentum. And what made me proud, not only those guys that pushed back that hadn't played, but secondly, the guys on the bench were genuinely happy for them. So we just take that page, we move on. And then I think once a year you dump a game where you just tell your guys, hey, throw it away. We're not looking at film. I said, it's on me. Let's roll forward. So that's what happened.
Touch on those 2 big wins. Defense has kind of been the factor that's really driven the second half of the season. Kind of talk about, your team is leading the league in blocks. Your turnover ratio has gone down tremendously from the beginning to now. You're stealing balls left and right, and your rebounding has been a top 5 in the RMAC. How important has that been for your success?
Well, those are signatures that you've pointed to that are highlights, and they've got to be our calling card for the rest of the year. We have 2 teams coming in here that are second and third, respectively, or it'd be third and second. But nonetheless, is that I look at those games and what's coming up is those calling cards don't come out. And if we have high turnovers or we don't rebound with a Metro State team that leads the league in rebounding on a +7, we're going to be on the sad end of all of it. And so we know what our marks are, and those are good marks to take in against 2 of the better teams in the league. And I look at those 2 games as RMAC tournament games. And we were lucky enough to play at that level and get that taste now at home. It's perfect for us to have that opportunity.
Alluding to the rebounds, Yaak, you and Will Mortimer have kind of been a big presence in the post. How important has that been for you to kind of be one of the leaders that's really driving the rebounding factor for this team?
It's been huge. Early in the year, it was something that I wasn't doing very well. The coaching staff, they really got on me. A lot of talks, and I think I really flipped it around. Just do my job. Keep it simple. Keep it a main focus. Everything else would just fall in place, I think. And then Will, Ty, and the guards have been doing a good job of coming in as well. So I think the emphasis of rebounding, keeping the other team's possessions lower than ours, has been a big emphasis, and we've done a pretty good job in the second half of the season.
Then moving the guard play, Harvey, you've been kind of one of the leaders, starting guards for most of the season. Talk about the impact that you've really tried to settle into while always handling the ball and trying to dish it out to your players, feeling most comfortable with the ball in your hands leading this offense.
I think we're pretty versatile in that retrospect with, obviously myself. I think we're versatile because we've obviously started with myself, Chris, and Mason for the majority of the year, and all three of us can, play that point guard role at different stages. So obviously, as coach said, trying to keep the turnovers down as much as possible, and play the half-court game is probably where we've succeeded most offensively, I think. Just trying to do the best job we can there.
See, Coach, you mentioned your be ready guys that came off the bench Saturday, and they scrapped. They kept you in it. How much confidence now does that give you all the way up and down the bench that they don't have to be get ready guys? They are ready.
Right. Two things. One is that on Sundays, those guys that don't get heavy minutes are playing at 7 a.m. We go through conceptual development. And so they're playing a lot of threes. And so they quietly have been in the outback working, plugging away, and then here comes their opportunity. The clear answer is that, we can go deeper into a rotation. And it also shows that the development program, the effort that they've been putting in to be ready and do that is substantial. And then there's nothing like the facts. You don't have to be rah-rah about it. And then also is that I think that the people that are playing a lot in the rotation, those top 8 guys go, that extra work is paying off. So it's easier to sell what we do at night and getting our shots in and our free throws, because the one thing for a team that does not shoot the three well, we know that. It's it's a talent of ours. I would say that we make free throws. And like I said, when they count, we've been putting in a lot of work. The players have been at night to get our volume in on free throws, for example, because that's your short game. And you've got to be able to do that to win these close games. And fortunately, we've been doing it. But that work rate that you're talking about gives some fuel to those guys that have been sitting there waiting their opportunity. And when it does happen, it's good to see it happen in an important time, because some of the starters been going hard, and they didn't have gas in the tank. Honestly, you can sit there and tell them, hey, you're not doing this or that, but it was an energy issue. And here comes those guys. So they were ready. And so it's a lot of fun, because when you go into the locker room and you're talking to your team, it's an emotional time, and you've been working for 2 hours and plugging away. So a modicum of words. So we were able just to emphasize what they did as opposed to what we didn't do. And that's a lot of fun, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah. And guys, you could tell your main guys, you were tired Saturday, and this is the time of year where you got to fight through being tired. It's the grind out part of the season. But the fact that you guys just keep coming back, what's that a testament to? You could be down 20, you're not out of the game.
I think for us, obviously, one of our main things we try to pride ourselves on is our work rate. And I think ever since this group's come in, coach and everyone has just done a really good job on working on, our mental toughness is one thing we've, really worked on, I think. And one thing I can take away from this season so far and what I've learned is just, kind of realizing what you're capable of when you really just dig in and set your mind to it. So I think, it's a big testament to the work we put in, in the preseason and continue to do so throughout the season in practice really is kind of where we build, I'd like to think. And I think that's like translated to, obviously we've played a lot of close games and we've come out on the winning end on a lot of them. So I think that's just a testament to all the hard work and stuff we do behind the scenes at practice, really.
Yeah. Everything Harvey said was facts. Practice is emphasized to try to be harder than the games. And we've emphasized that since August. So I think, from then on, our mental toughness, like Harvey said, is really high. And now that we've done it a lot of times, we could be down a lot and we just look at each other during the game. We're like, we can get back in this. We have confidence in each other and ourselves, and the coaching staff has confidence in us. So yeah, we just keep chipping away and second half team. So.
Question for the players, like you were just alluding to, a lot of close games. I think you had a 4 or 5 game stretch where I think they were decided by like a total of 6 or something like that. You mentioned the mentality, but especially with a team like this where a lot of you guys you have experience in the past, at least knew of each other, but you're still trying to figure out how to play with each other. Does it almost make it more difficult in those tight games? You still got to kind of figure things out like that on the fly, or is it one of those, it's just kind of like riding a bike, like once you have it, you don't lose it?
I think with the mentality thing, I think there's probably points in the game where you can kind of say to yourself, oh, it's over, or, this or that. And I think there's always that one like breaking moment within the game where you kind of, everyone decides whether, you're going to lean into, the deficit or whatever it is, or, roll over. And I think a lot of teams tend to do that. And in the past, like I've conversation with other guys, it's kind of, even in the Springs game, like there was a moment where I think it was around 10 minutes and it was 10 points, like coaches talking about, and you think, most people would be like, oh, I had already given up, but we kind of jump at that opportunity and think, you put behind what's happening in the game and kind of just focus on what you can do in the present. So I think it is in a way like, I wouldn't say once you've got it down, you're always going to, it's always going to happen. But I think just the mentality of believing that you can win and just leaning into whatever situation you're in is why we've been so successful, because we've always had that belief, no matter situation we're in, and we don't stop playing until the buzzer sounds. So, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely it can be difficult with a group of new guys. But I think the connection that we have as a team, everybody genuinely really likes each other off the court. And I think that really just helps us on the court. The belief we have in each other, it's really genuine. So, someone can make a mistake and we're on to the next one. There's no hanging on to it. We're on to the next play, next stop. So the connection we have, I think really helps that belief in each other, and that way we can come back in games.
And then I'm just kind of curious for everyone. It's kind of these upcoming games, good news, bad news. You're back home, but it's 2 really tough teams you got to go up against. Just what are you expecting to see out of those 2? Metro for you, coach, is always, I'm curious for you, it's got to be kind of an interesting experience, especially back here.
Yeah, 9 years of my life and our lives were spent there family-wise. So there's that element as far as that goes. And I know there's also a strain of people that are want to make sure that, that the fans back in Denver want to make sure that we get clubbed. And they've told me in no uncertain terms that my name is Benedict Arnold, but that's okay. I love them for that, and I understand it. The game itself, they have really good bigs. They have good guards, of course, too. They've done well with their winning record, all of that. But we have to compete on the boards, and also as we have to control the tempo. It can't be up in the 90s if we expect to win. We want to make sure that that the tempo makes sense. We have low turnovers, and we're pounding the boards and compete there. We've got the people to do it, obviously. And now it's time to, like I said, is get to some precision playing. And I love the fact we're at home. That is becoming more and more advantageous for guys where the parquet or the wood in this case is theirs. It's their slats. And my point is you got to earn that. And a brand new team, here we go, brand new staff. And then the point is that we've gobbled up some of that, getting to understand the fans here and their expectations, getting to know first names of people that are always behind your bench. It's a lot of fun, but also there's got to be some emotion to it in terms of digging in and saying, hey, we expect for it to be a row and we're all part of that. Yeah.
Yak, for you, you bring a lot of finesse to the game, and then you got Will, who's kind of the bruiser. How does it make it difficult for an opposing? That's one way to put it.
Kind of.
But how does that make it tough for opposing bigs to kind of cover you two as the duo?
Yeah, Bruce.
They're close.
Yeah.
Will and Yaak are particularly close. So there's a smile on his face because of that relationship.
Yeah, no, coaches hit it on the head. That's my guy. I think it's a tough coverage, especially on the boards. Now that it's such an emphasis, and it's been one since the start of the year, but now that we've really hit our stride in rebounding, it's tough to box us both out. And then you add Ty into the mix. It's a great group of bigs. I really love them both. But yeah, Bruce is putting it lightly. I think it's a good mix. That's about it.
Well, then, Coach, for you, there was a couple games there where Austin Tyne put in some pretty solid work for you. How have you seen him grow this year with you guys?
Austin, just because they're so good last year that it was hard for him to have an identity. He could always shoot the ball, but there were other things that he could do. And so mostly Austin is becoming comfortable with the fact that we're using him in the rotation and that he can relax a little bit more knowing that, he's going to get some food at the table and it's not a game by game evaluation. And so he's just become more confident is what I would say. And he understands his role. He's a go-get-'em player too. He'll go get you long rebounds and he is a buzzsaw. So we've tried to identify him as something more than just his ability to shoot the deep three, that smart, knows how to set guys up for backdoors and is fitting in nicely. And he's actually even talking in the locker room, which is amazing because he's a very shy human. And the ownership of the team is at a high level.
Anything else? All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Question of the week before we go.
Okay.
This week being Super Bowl Sunday might be tough for Australian guys, but who are we cheering for? Part one, and then part two, if you can, a favorite Super Bowl memory.
Oh, that's terrible. to be honest, I couldn't even tell you who's playing. Oh, is it Eagles playing? Eagles?
Yes,
Okay,
Eagles
yeah.
and the
Well,
Chiefs.
obviously Coach Evans is always harping on about them, so I know the Eagles, but yeah, I'm not a massive NFL guy, so I couldn't give you an answer for that, to be honest. So yeah.
Or Aussie rules memory, if you want to go that route.
Oh, Aussie Rose memory. All right.
Yeah, we'll let you off.
Okay. The Sydney Swans. The Sydney Swans. Favorite memories: the 2012 Grand Final. 8 years old. Played against Hawthorn. Great rivalry right there. But yeah, it was awesome game. Me and my mom's a Hawthorn fan, so yeah, it was awesome. Won the bet with her, and I think I won about $5, but that's a lot as an 8-year-old kid. $5 is a lot. So yeah.
You've got the Eagles, you've got the Chiefs, but if there's an aw shucks human being, obviously he's a Hall of Famer, and Andy Reid, he is hilarious. And I mean, just looking at him, you think he's a Huxtable. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a mad genius, humble, lets everybody else take center stage. But, that E.F. Hutton thing, when he speaks, they listen. And I love that. And getting back to Australian rules footy, we were there 3 years with daughter born in Adelaide. And the one thing I learned I had no idea. They got 11 guys running around, then you had the other 11 for the other team, and you got these madmen just cheap shotting everybody in the oval. And I don't know what, it's mayhem. It's just friggin' mayhem. No pads, no nothing. They're talking about marks. You got guys crawling up guys' backs. They're 30 feet in the air, getting the ball out. And I'm just going, what is this? But I did learn about meat pies. And so when you're in the stands and let's say that you're watching in Melbourne, no gravy on those pies. You go down to Adelaide, they're going to slap some gravy on those. And it's like a chicken pot pie is basically what it is. And people have got those meat pies and they're throwing their face in the meat pies and they're looking at you. And if you don't have one of those and a cold one in your other hand, you're a dead man walking. I mean, that's a federal offense over there. So my thing was that the thing I love about Australian rules footy, though, is that it's nothing but a tough person game. A and B is that the crowd, the tickets have been passed down over the years, much like the Eagles. It's lineage. It's part of the jersey. You got to wear the jersey. You got to get in there and have a fist fight, and the tailgate. You just got to go in and be wild. And so I would just say that the Super Bowl and what's going on, I know the flavor of both teams. I love it. I think it's a great setup. Sometimes that's a little tilted, but I think it's a hard call, and it's going to be fun like that. And then I also go back to these guys. And when they do watch football, you may mention it to them and they'll drag you right back to, oh, that's nothing. You guys got helmets and pads and stuff. And so I kind of have to take a step backwards to them because I've seen it and I know what they're talking about. Yeah.
All right. Great answers. Good luck this week, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.